So I want to start off by explaining my motorsport journey. I started pretty late at the age of 14. To many, it's pretty young. In the motorsport world, it's pretty old. So I'll start off by first in 2013. I was a gymnast for 10 years before that. I was doing gymnastics in the elite division, and I was really bored of it because there was a competition once a year, and I never really enjoyed and I didn't have that spark. But then I actually saw my father, who was a racing driver himself. He was competing in 2009. And I actually got that spark from him because ever since he brought racing drivers to the house, we would go support him. All they ever spoke about was racing, the tracks they've been to, the drivers they've met. And it really sparked me. I wanted to be a part of his world as well. So that's when in 2013, I started rental karting. So my dad was my coach. He was helping me get the best time. We did it here in our home track in Al Farsan karting track. And from there, I was selected to be part of a speed academy, the Man Speed Academy, who was a driver's program to help build and bring Emirati racing drivers to Formula One. And I was the first female selected amongst 7 men. So I was pretty happy. So I, thank you. So I competed in karting junior level. It was pretty difficult. My first race weekend, it was outside of a racing kart. So it was your personal track, karting uh, kart and team. And it was new to me, different to rental karts. I competed nationally in the UAE, and I actually didn't really enjoy it because I wasn't as quick as I expected to be. So I actually had a thought to myself, and I was crying to my dad. I was telling him, racing is not for me. I'm really slow. I'm not a good racing driver. I don't think I'll make it anywhere. And my dad actually sat me down and he told me, every champion was once a beginner, a rookie. They started off, as slow as you maybe, but then, it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of resilience to actually make it up and become a champion one day. And I actually took that to thought, and I'm really happy I did not quit. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. So, thanks to my father, who was really a big motivation for me throughout my racing history. So, in 2015, I actually, after I started karting 2 years later, I had my first podium in karting in juniors. And that was like a big ego boost for me. A lot of hard work, a lot of tears put to my racing journey. I actually got a podium for the first time. After that, when I turned 17, I had to move up to the next level, which was the seniors category. And from there, it would be my last year competing in karting, as the Mon Speed Academy was about to end from there. So I had to really prove myself. And from there, I actually won the championship, the first female in history to win a karting championship in seniors. And then from there, I actually had to compete in the GCC drivers program, where they selected me to represent the UAE out of all men in the GCC. And the first time, being the only female, they always doubt you, underestimate you, push you aside. That's the world of motorsport, You're the only female, and it's a male dominated sport. There's no one that would, believe in you. It's only yourself. You have yourself to believe. And so I was like, you know what? I'll take it easy. I'll just let them think that. It's good they think that I'm not good enough so that I could, have it easy through. And in the end, I actually won the GCC drivers program. And then from there, I had a sponsorship from Kaspersky Lab to compete in Formula 4 Italian. So that was my 2015 2017 journey. In 2018, I competed in Formula 4 Italian. Now, that was a different category. It was very prestigious. It was very hard, very difficult. Again, being the only female, the only female racing driver, the only Arab representative on the grid. It was very actually competitive. I had a lot of criticism and racism facing on track. I was dealing with a lot of stereotypes. You know, people would assume the only reason I was racing was because I had a big bank behind me, a big backup who are funding me, which isn't true. It was very difficult to find a sponsorship, and I was very thankful Kaspersky Lab actually gave me that sponsorship. So I started in 2018. I was always looked down upon against my teammates. Whatever I had to say was never counted for. Let's say I have a problem with the car, I'd say I have an issue with the car. They would always judge me based on my driving and not the car. But when my teammates would complain about the car, they would listen to them. So I had a lot of problems facing with the team, being the only female. And it took a lot of time for them to actually listen to me and take my words to consideration. But then in the last round in 2019, during the F1 Abu Dhabi GP, once they started to listen to me, I actually had the chance to win in my home track in front of Formula One on the F1 podium. It was a surreal moment. I actually also got Formula E to have me as their Formula E test driver in Riyadh. So I usually never thought of myself, you know, someone who would make it up this far. I always thought, you know, I would just take it as a career, take it as a hobby, not really think of anything of it. But seeing how far I've come, actually, you know, I'm just in disbelief as well right now, just looking at these photos. These This took 10 years of hard work, commitment, not being around friends, not being around family, a lot of traveling, a lot of criticism. But I'm really happy where I got to. Now, after 2019, the pandemic hit and I had no sponsors. So I was out of racing for a year or two. I actually thought, you know, maybe I should go into social media, try something new, try to gain sponsors through social media. And it actually worked. I actually got a post from Hypebeast on social media, and from there, I actually gained a lot of exposure and two sponsors from that post. And it actually helped me to reach the next level, which was Formula 3 Asia. So once I competed in Formula 3 Asia after no racing, it was very difficult. It was a big grid, all men. I used to compete with drivers who were slower than me. I find them faster than me in that weekend. It was a very stressful championship year for me. But then in the second year, I started to get top 10 out of 35 drivers. I was able to gain some points in the championship. And yeah, it took a lot of hard work, a lot of time. And I actually got to race also with my father and my sister. We were in the same team in Formula 3 Asia for the second year. And I was the only one who got top 10 out of them. So they were really annoyed after that championship. In 2023, I was able to, I actually thought I was not racing anymore. I thought my career has ended from there because there was no funding, there was no backup. So once they released F1 Academy, I was in relief. They saved my career. F1 Academy basically is a championship for female drivers who don't have the budget, who don't have the opportunity to compete in high racing levels such as Formula 4 or Formula 3. So they have the budget cap, which was very low and affordable for all female racing drivers. And it's a career saver for not just me, but also many other female racing drivers out there. So I was able to compete in F1 Academy, gain a few podiums. I was sixth in the championship. We were able to get, you know, P4, P3, but I had a lot of problems with the stewards and penalties and stuff. But I managed to finish P6 in the championship. And after that, now next year, there's a very big announcement coming up. We signed with a Formula One team. We'll be competing again with F1 Academy, and it's going to be announced hopefully in February. So this is my overall racing career. But the whole moral of the story is every time there's a failure or a setback, don't think of it as a dead end or a point that your career is over or your job is over. There's always something, there's always an opportunity out there, but we don't see it. We just need to keep working hard and try to find that opportunity. So that's the whole moral of the story. I had stopped racing twice for 1 year, thinking that my career was over, but there's always an opportunity to come, and it's never a dead end. So I really hope you guys would see this as something for you guys as well.
Amna Al Qubaisi. What an inspiring story, and I would like to take a few moments to just dive a little bit deeper into your story. First of all, we gotta ask you, how much do you love your career, especially the part where you get to drive, beat your dad on the racetrack? How amazing is that?
It's a very lovable career. I love it to death, actually. I mean, every time I'm not in the racing car or I see other people racing, it's a very depressive moment. Once you get into it, you never want to leave it. So, yeah, it's a very love-hate relationship with the racing.
A love-hate relationship. Now let's talk a bit for a few moments about you being actually the first female Arab in so many aspects. It's a very male-oriented sport. How was it actually for you to get into this sport, into this field, and also how did you find the motivation to stick through when everybody just says no?
For me, I never really wanted to hear what people have to say about me entering a sport that I loved. I actually had a lot of people telling me, this is not a sport for women, you should do something else. And that actually pushed me harder to want to take it and be like, no, it is also for women. It's not just for men. It's just mainly men have the opportunity and women don't really have that opportunity. So I'm glad I went into it and I had the support of my parents.
Let's talk a bit about the mindset, because for entrepreneurs, having the mindset that you can do it is very important. And when you think about being in a race car, maybe you're the last position and you have to actually give your all best, how do you deal with the pressure and the expectations that you set for yourself, but also others would set for you?
For me, when I have these expectations set on me, I actually crack under pressure. I start making mistakes and I start, not performing at my best. And I've learned to actually mute out all those expectations and mute out looking at comments said about me, about my talent and everything. I would usually just put myself in a corner and say, I'm doing this sport for myself. I love this sport. I have the privilege to get the opportunity to be racing in a weekend where not many others have the opportunity to do so. So I just sit by myself and be like, this is for me. I'm racing for me and not for everyone else.
So sitting by yourself in stillness and focusing actually on the opportunities that life has given you is what works for you. Definitely a lot that we can take away. Thank you so much. Amna Al Qubaisi.
Thank you, guys.